Good day. Hi, I'm Dr. Charles Chaffin, Director of Academic Initiatives for the CFP Board Center for Financial Planning, and welcome to the Columbia CFP Board Teaching Seminar webinar. We're really glad that you are joining us. There isn't a dial-in number, so you're listening to it via the interface, and certainly glad you're here and glad to talk with you about our teaching seminar. So it is a great week together. This is our coming up next month is our second offering of the teaching seminar. We offered it in May of last year in New York at the Columbia campus, and you can see this picture that we took midway through our week together outside of the Columbia University library. And our programs so far, what we've seen is a great diversity of attendees. So it is obviously folks who are currently in faculty positions. Some of them are faculty positions within financial planning. Some of them are faculty positions within finance or accounting. And then a large majority of folks are CFP professionals who do not have a teaching position, but are thinking about it as maybe a second career or thinking about becoming an adjunct. And then finally, we have some people a few folks that have come from the corporate training background. So they're working with a firm, a financial planning firm of some sort, and having better knowledge of how people learn is something that's attractive to them. So that diversity of attendee really makes for some interesting dialogue and some great time together. So, and I know we've got a lot of different people that are planning to join us in San Francisco, and a lot of different folks that are joining us for this webinar today. So, what is the program about? It is essentially to learn about teaching. You could also say it's teach about learning. But we focus a lot on how people learn and thinking about best strategies to help students, regardless of what type of student. It is, we take a broad approach. We think about students who have no experience in financial planning, which are, traditionally baccalaureate students, could be MBA students too at the master's level, but also thinking about students with experience, and maybe coming from with work experience rather. It could be coming from a certificate program or whatnot. So we work really hard to focus on all different types of learners and think about that process within each. It is very systematic. So we talk a lot about taking what it is that we think a student should be able to learn, be able to do, what type of experiences need to happen, and then how do you know that they learned it, which we talk about as assessment. So there are lots of resources associated with this program. We opened up the portal actually today to the students in San Francisco, and I'll talk about the opportunities that are available for San Francisco in a few moments. But on that portal, we'll have close to 200 different resources that are part of the program that are for attendees to take and to refer to throughout the week, refer to before we come together in San Francisco, and to take in their journey, whether they're starting as an educator or have 30 years of experience as a teacher. Everything from PowerPoints to quizzes and all kinds of different readings and whatnot. It's a big part of the program is to have a lot of resources for folks to take with them on their journey as they move forward. There are a lot of activities. So throughout the week, it's a Monday through Friday program in San Francisco, running essentially from 9 to 5, and there's no way that we could have a program that talks about learning and just have folks sitting for 40 hours in a classroom and having lecture. At any given moment, students, or registrants part of this program will go from being a registrant in the seminar to being an actual student, playing the role as a student, to being somebody who's going to be teaching. There will be teaching episodes for attendees. And sometimes you'll be doing all three at once. So it makes for it's a quick week together. It goes very, very fast, and it's a lot of fun. We went through and I finalized the curriculum actually yesterday for this program, and I think those of you that are planning to register or are going to be joining us are going to have a good time. we focus both on online and classroom-based instruction and a hybrid in the middle of that. So there's an online component of the program before you come, and then it's classroom-based when you get there. But there are lots of activities and conversations around online instruction, so that you're coming out feeling like you have some level of comfort with both sides. And certainly the component leading up to June 4th online is really that you can experience that as a student. You have to post a video as an instructor might post a lecture. So we really think about both elements. Why teaching is a part of it. It's really, we write a teaching philosophy. I did write philosophy on this slide because I thought it might scare people as being a little too heady, but that's essentially what it is. So you get to draft a statement saying, why is it that you want to teach, and what do you think is important? And if you're working in practice, you have things that you think a professional, a colleague, or someone working within your firm should be able to do. That's part of your philosophy. You might think that that oral communication is number one in engaging clients. Well, that's part of your philosophy. That's part of what you think is really, really important. And then as the week goes on, there's things about that philosophy that you drafted that might confirm what you're thinking or might refute it a little bit or challenge it. And then we talk about that at the end. What has confirmed what this week has confirmed your philosophy and what has challenged it, which is a really great dialogue towards the very end. As I mentioned, you get to teach. And it's fun stuff. We're doing the first teaching episode for next month has nothing to do with financial planning. It's basically on the site. There's a bunch of different objectives. Everything from teaching how to make a paper airplane to sing a song to draw something. And the idea there is to learn about that approach of being systematic. That here's what I want a student to learn. Here are the experiences I'm going to do to help them learn it. And then at the end, which is assessment, how do I know that they learned it? So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And then we're going to get into, particularly in the investment side, we're going to get into some actual contextual investments teaching opportunities. And also with the capstone, we're going to get into some assessments. So we're going to watch some students deliver comprehensive plans and learn how to evaluate them using a rubric and whatnot, which I think will be powerful. Network and connection is really important. The dialogue is absolutely critical to having a good week together. And as I mentioned, the mix of attendees couldn't have been happier with what we did on campus at Columbia in 2017. And it looks like it's going to be the same for 2018. And looking at the folks that are joining us today or listening to this recording is going to add to that diversity. So really excited about the opportunities for good dialogue and discussion. And it was such a great group the first time around. I started a LinkedIn group for alums of the program to interact and share opportunities for teaching positions or whatnot, or just thoughts about their path going forward. So I think it's been a really valuable week, and it certainly was a valuable week for me. So we think about the topic areas. These are pretty standard topic areas that would be part of any type of financial planning teaching seminar. The content areas are based upon learning objectives that are important for CFP certification, education being a primary element. So my background, I'm a doctor of education. So my role here as the program lead is to set everybody up for thinking about how people learn and what are the best strategies for that. And then essentially it's kind of team taught throughout the week with a variety of speakers who are faculty at some really great places in financial planning, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But it really is that meeting place between both academia and practice, but also between education and how people learn, and all of these content areas. And so if you're coming to it from as a practitioner, you have the content knowledge. It's packaging that into learning design and figuring out the best ways to teach. Or if you're a faculty member that's coming from outside of financial planning, it's learning about some of the financial planning elements, which makes that practitioner who will be sitting next to you all the more valuable in your experience. And obviously we have financial planning faculty that are a great resource in the dialogue, and they want to sharpen their skills and get some of these resources. So you can see the list of speakers that we have lined up for this time, all coming from great places, and almost all of them have a very extensive practice background. which is really, really important. And it's important to remember that all of us, this program is not designed to teach. It's designed to essentially teach the teacher, for lack of a better phrase. And that's a very different approach. And so that's why the interactive element with each of these segments is really important. So I spend a couple of hours working with each of them to prepare this time together, because it's very different than everything else that they've ever done. Most of these folks on this list did the first time through and had a great time with it. It's a lot of fun, but it's not a matter of lecturing about estate planning, but it's about thinking about ways to help people learn about estate planning, which is active, and there's an engagement element and whatnot. So lots of opportunities for engagement between attendees and also between our speakers. So there'll be some group work that will be part of the week together, and likely some group presentations, particularly around the tax area, as well as in the retirement planning area. So opportunities to really work with others, and it's great to pair people up who have different backgrounds. So a practitioner with somebody that has education experience is a great combination, and both are coming at it with different experiences, but the idea in mind to improve in what it is that they're doing. And we have past attendees from the 2017 offer had a number of good things to say about it, and so I'm sharing that here. We also have, in addition to the resources that are part of the online component, Wiley will be providing free copies of at least one and maybe two of our books that'll be part of the week, and it's obviously something that you'll be taking with you as you go through your journey. So it's a great opportunity to add an additional resource. So we're in San Francisco. We're at the Hyatt in San Francisco. It's at the Embarcadero. It's a great location, and it's great to have a West Coast presence. I envision us to have. We did New York last year and San Francisco this year, and likely looking at doing both for next year. But I do encourage you to think about the June offering. We've got some discounts available for it. We've got some seats open, and if you email Will Cortez at Columbia, that's his email address there, wc2598@columbia.edu. He can talk with you about the discount. And the discount's available for the next week. So if you get in and register between now and May 10th, you can take advantage of that. That discount. So what I want to do now is spend most of the time on questions, and you just type the questions into the box. I see that folks have figured out how to do that. So I'm going to pause for about 3 minutes or so for you to type in your questions, and then we'll have some dialogue about those. So we'll take a 3-minute break to get your questions. All right, so we're back. So we have a number of questions. I'm going to scroll through. I'm going to scroll through all of them. So the first one, go back to the email address about the discounts. I'm happy to do that. There it is on your screen now. The email address to register and get the discount is wc2598@columbia.edu, and that's Will Cortez is the individual there. And I did alert him that you all could be informing him, so contacting him. So he will be he's waiting for you to reach out to him. The next question is one that I was going to mention, and that is regarding teaching opportunities that are available. So upon completion of the program, you get a certificate that it's a Columbia University certificate, and that certificate is, now that we have engaged our colleges and universities about this program, it's something that that they're very interested in future candidates for teaching positions. So we don't handle placement ourselves. The colleges and universities handle that, but that it is now something that is a very I think it's becoming more and more noteworthy in deciding of faculty positions. As a matter of fact, this week I talked with 2 faculty members that are on search committees for open positions, and they were talking about the benefit of hiring somebody who's come from this program. So we don't promise that completing this program that we will place you, but with that being said, it definitely makes you very marketable for future positions that are coming available. And I expect as we continue to offer it, and graduates are now getting placed, that's going to continue. So the San Francisco program that I'm talking about is the one that's happening June 4th through the 8th in San Francisco at the Hyatt, and that's where the discounts are available and where we have the opportunities that we have seats available for right now. So it's the 4th through the 8th at the Hyatt, and if you contact Will Cortez, Columbia does a great job of offering really personal service when it comes to the registration process. So Will is standing by to, you don't have to just fill out a form and wait to hear from somebody for a week or whatnot. If you email him, he will get back to you very quickly with all of the specific information and how you can register and get the discount. So for the person that's asking about the San Francisco program, I hope you will join us. Next question, do you recommend texts or other materials to have? Well, I mean, so the materials that, and I see this person who's asking is already registered for the program. So you have the lion's share of the resources in the online platform, and so I would encourage you to begin looking at those. That's outside of the books that will be handed out for free at the event. Those are your primary resource documents. So I would encourage you to look through those. You don't have to study them in advance, but it's good for you to know them. So if you have questions about some of them or incorporate them into the discussion, you're definitely free to do that. Next question. So I think that regarding if a university doesn't have a CFP program, and the resources through CFP Board to do that would be found if you email education@cfpboard.org. They can help you with resources to get your program started. I think that's the first step. And then there are items on our website at cfp.net that you can look at in terms of the journey towards making that argument to become a program, and then ultimately the steps needed to launch a program. Next question. So there aren't qualifying criteria to enroll. There aren't at all. As I said, it's a diverse group. So you shouldn't. You probably fall into one of the areas that I talked about, whether it's a faculty member in some area within or just beyond financial planning, or a practitioner, or somebody that's involved in training elements. So if you're in one of those areas, you're surely welcome to join us. Next question. So after completing this course, what additional training would be needed to teach a classroom course of Intro to Financial Planning? I think it really depends. You know, if you're coming from a practitioner background, if you have practice experience, you know, we spend a lot of time on fundamentals the first day, which is an integral part of the intro course, and you're going to have a lot of resources. So if you have a practice background, after this week, I think you have the tools necessary to offer it, to teach that class the first time. You know, you always learn more the second time after going through it once, but you have a leg up, I think, in going through this program because you're going to get so many resource documents on the fundamental side, and even some presentations that you're going to be free to use, that I think you're going to have a strong handle to be able to go in there and know how to develop a syllabus, develop a set of objectives, and have the materials in there to help the students achieve those objectives. Next question. So as far as the cross-border personal financial planning with regard to rules changes for Americans overseas, yeah, we don't really cover that. I think if you're interested in teaching, then it will definitely be relevant to you. We really don't spend a lot of time on that, and you know, and we have a different approach than obviously in different countries and territories. CFP marks are in multiple countries, but you know, there really isn't a lot of reciprocity there. But I think if you're interested in teaching, and obviously this is focused solely on financial planning, so I definitely think there would be relevance there. But that specific niche topic, as you describe it, is not really part of our program or even part of our own certification. But other than that, I mean, if you're interested in teaching, then I definitely think it would be relevant to you. So the next question: what openings exist for teaching at a university such as Columbia without a PhD? Well, you know, it really depends. I mean, you know, there are lots of positions open for faculty who don't have a PhD. So, you know, for the most part, in a lot of business schools, for example, they are required by their accreditors to have a certain percentage of faculty who have a PhD, and then certain faculty who have a practitioner background and whatnot. And the percentages vary and whatnot, but you certainly can. There's no question about that. And there are lots and lots of faculty who are in a variety of different faculty roles, whether it's be an instructor or in some cases even tenure track faculty who don't have a PhD. So there are lots of openings. I can't speak specifically to Columbia, but there's definitely lots of possibilities to do that without a PhD. So I wouldn't not register for this program solely because you're not thinking about getting a PhD. If you want to teach, there are opportunities to do that and without a PhD. Next question. Lots of questions, so I'm really glad to answer these. I recently obtained my CFP. My background is working in industry as planning and support. What credentials or background are needed to teach at a university for one of these courses? Do you need an MBA? You don't need an MBA. You essentially, you know, I mean, having a master's degree is certainly useful for a teaching position. But you know, even for our standards for faculty, the CFP designation with a baccalaureate degree is enough. So it really depends on a case-by-case basis, but what I've seen at a 30,000-foot level in academia is that there is an increased focus on designations, which has been very, very beneficial to CFPs who are interested in becoming faculty. So, you know, my advice to you certainly is to enroll in our program if you're looking to do that. But I wouldn't necessarily just go run out and get an MBA before seeing what openings are out there and getting the reaction from some of the folks on the search committees if there's a possibility there, because we do have faculty who don't have a master's degree, have a CFP, and are teaching. Next question, if I cannot swing the June meeting due to tax filing deadline for overseas Americans, is this offering planned again for later this year? It's not planned for later this year. We're looking at potentially some 2019 offerings, but right now what we concretely have is the San Francisco offering in June with this current discount. We'll certainly be making announcements as we think about 2019, but that's the one that's on deck for right now, that we know we have both seats available as well as a discount. And the discount and the seats available, they sometimes go hand in hand, right? For someone who's interested, next question, for someone who's in the very early stages of considering teaching, either as a second career or adjunct, what one or two actions would you recommend as first steps? Well, certainly this program could be a part of that. If you're able to do it, it gives you a sense of if you really are interested in the process of teaching, and if you get excited by it. And we had a lot of CFP. We had 30. I think we had 31 or 32 CFPs in the last offering, and we had, of them, I think only 2 of them had a teaching position. The rest of them were, I guess, probably in a situation that you're in, where they were thinking about it. They didn't have an offer coming, but it was something that they'd always thought about doing, and so they came to see if they were excited by that week that we had together. And I think that's a very good first step. I also think that the other part about that is if you're thinking about it as a second career, are you thinking about maybe an advanced degree? If for example, if you're thinking about, well, maybe I want to be a scholar and a teacher, you might want to think about coming to our research colloquium and seeing if research is something that you're interested in, so that if you get really passionate about research and teaching and financial planning, well, that may be something to think about with regard to an advanced degree. Again, not that you have to do that just to teach, but if you're excited about both of those things, then maybe you're thinking about potentially a full-time position. But I think regarding the teaching side, it really is about being around other teachers and seeing what that's like, and that, discussing that process, experiencing that process both as a student and a teacher is the best way to see if that's something that it is that you really want to do. It's a great question. What if I cannot attend all 5 days of the seminar? It's something we could work on. I know there are. It really depends. That's a general question, so I can't really provide a specific answer. Obviously, the Columbia certificate is a very valued certificate. We think that because CFP board is also on that it has a high amount of value, and so there are rules associated with achieving that certificate. But with that being said, it's something on a case-by-case basis that I'll evaluate. So it really just depends, I guess, to give you a general answer to your question. Next question. Let me follow up. Other than attending the teaching seminar, of course, to the question before. So yeah, there you go. Thank you for that. That's a good question. So not that they're all great questions. It seems like a program I will gain a lot from, but I'm afraid I will lose a lot of the learning after a year or so. Do you plan to have a refresher program to help alums? The element, it's a great question. I think the element of interaction is really, really important. I also think what's critical was the resource piece. I mean, to me, that's why we're providing the almost 200 resource documents, and even some videos that are on there to help with that going forward. If we felt like that the alums said, we wanted to do some sort of refresher, we would look at it. We absolutely would look at it after a year or so. But we really do design it in a way that you're taking away so many resources and things that they're going to stay with you as you go forward, if that makes sense. But a refresher wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad at all. The next question, I would love to teach a CFP class, currently enrolled in an MBA program. When I complete this program next year, who would I reach out to be considered? Well, you have to reach out to the university. So they essentially they handle the hiring process. What this certificate from Columbia does is it puts you head and shoulders above folks that have a similar profile to you in that search process, and also the networking in connecting about open positions. I get asked about positions all the time. We have, as I said, even this week I heard 2 institutions say I have openings. Who do you know? And I get resumes from the attendees, and I just pass them along. And on the resume is the Columbia certificate, and that carries a lot of weight. So that helps immensely. But we're not on the search committees, and we don't do placement. That's the universities. Universities decide that. There's a question here. Someone coming from an institution saying that they're looking for their desperate need of part-time teachers. So this is it's a great opportunity. I don't know if I can name the institution or not, but it's in the Bay Area, so so it's close by. So part-time teachers, especially for folks that are CFPs, there's a market there. Definitely is. The price does not include the hotel, not for this time around. So the registration cost for the next question does not include a hotel. Next question, I guess, is a statement. I don't want a job at a school. I only want to teach. Well, I think that's great. I'd be curious to know who you're teaching, but I think that's great. And there are opportunities to do that, I suppose. I'd be curious to know what that's about. So the individual that wrote that question, I hope you enroll, because then I'm going to ask you what exactly you're thinking about. Next question, does this qualify for CE credit? It does. So we're not a CE provider. Columbia is not a CE provider. CFP board obviously is not a CE provider. But attendees last year submitted their experience to get credit, and they did. So that was no problem at all. Next, presumably the resources are updated. Absolutely, everything is updated. And we make sure of that. So yes, the resources are updated, and so are the speakers. Next question. Instead of universities, how about the outside CE providers? Well, again, I think that's absolutely it. And the program is applicable to be teaching to being part of a CE provider, no question about it. But again, we don't place them. They don't work for CFP board. So it would be immensely helpful in your journey to getting one of those positions. But we can't mandate that the CE. We can't place you into those companies essentially that offer CE. I just got. Thank you for not naming the institution. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. But we got a little advertisement, kind of. Let's see. Will this program? Next question. Will this program help me know how to create a program that can become CFP board accredited? Absolutely. It's interwoven throughout it. My role at CFP board for 7 years was oversight of the CFP board registered programs. So I know what it takes to get through that process. I've worked with lots of universities in going from beginning to end in that process. So absolutely, it's interwoven throughout the program now on the online component as well as during our week together. Next question. Does the CFP website have a list of colleges near me that offer CFP classes? Yes. If you go to cfp.net and go to Find an Education Program, you can type in or actually just select your state, and you can see the institutions that offer it and even the contact information of the person that's leading that program at that institution. So if you go to cfp.net and go to Find an Education Program, you can find who's close to you. Next question, are corporate employers training development departments looking to hire teachers of financial planning for their employees? Well, I know they have them. I don't know, I know about the demand when it comes to the college and university side and can speak to that, which is why we're doing this. I should have started with that. Well, why are we offering this program? And it really was for a couple of reasons. First of all, because there's a need for adjuncts. And secondly, because the growth of programs is happening predominantly in the business schools. And in the business schools, it's mostly finance departments, some accounting departments, but mostly finance departments that are housing them. And all those faculty aren't necessarily have a background in financial planning. Now, some do, but a lot don't. And so that's why we started that, because we see that need there on the university side. I can't speak to the training development piece. I'll tell you, we've had an attendee from a firm that came in May of last year, and we have someone coming June that's in that area. So it's certainly, they see it as relevant, but I can't speak to whether there are specific positions open. Next question, yeah, for more information, I would encourage you to go ahead and email. You should have the email address on the site in front of you to get all of that information and to be helpful and answer any questions. Again, we try to offer a high level of service, and Columbia does too, to registrants. You're welcome to go to the Center for Financial Planning page at centerforfinancialplanning.org and look at the Columbia page there that has all of the information that's been part of this deck, and take a look at even some of the pictures and testimonials from the last offering. Do you have next question? Do you have a schedule of seminar dates and locations? Well, I mean, we have next month at June 4th through the 8th in San Francisco. We regarding 2019, we don't have anything scheduled as of yet. So right now, I'm encouraging folks to take advantage of the June 4th offering out there. Obviously, when and if we go forward in 2019, then we'll certainly be announcing all of that. So the cost, regarding the cost of the training, all of that can be provided by Columbia, but the regular price is $5,000 for the week to get this certificate. But there's a significant discount for people attending the seminar, and Will Cortez can provide all of that. Another question. Do I have to write tests that give students grades? Well, yeah, you do. I mean, you really do. Now, you could do all kinds of different tests, and we're going to talk about really innovative ways to assess students. But yeah, students grading and tests, that's kind of part of the landscape. The next question. I'm looking forward to, I guess as a statement, I'm looking forward to teaching and helping others become CFPs. Well, amen. That's great. Very glad to hear that. Next question. In the future, are there any plans for this course to be offered online? Well, a significant part of the course is offered online now. There's not an online-only component. I think it's important that that for a program like this, that that registrants come out with a good understanding of what I would say are all three delivery methods, and that's classroom-based, online, and hybrid. Hybrid is a combination of both, and so I don't envision a scenario where we're going to only focus on one delivery method over another, just because we want people coming out to have the flexibility to get a teaching position in any or all of those delivery methods, which I think is really, really important. Next question. Let's see. Can't make it this year, so just found out about it. Future dates, yes. So we will obviously be announcing future dates, and sorry that you can't make it. That looks like that concludes all of the questions. I hope you plan to join us and that you'll contact Will Cortez at columbia.edu for more information and get registered. And certainly take advantage of our discount. But thank you again for being part of the webinar today, and I look forward to seeing you in San Francisco next month. Have a good day.